It's really a shame that this awesome weapons talent is being wasted away with countless builds not taking advantage of all that it has to offer. And I'm guilty of it too. It was actually the first build I made with the St Elmo, trying to get as much rate of fire and crit as possible. That's cool and all, but when using this weapon, you must utilize it to its full potential. So that's what I've done here. Have you ever wanted a build that is great in all forms of content, whether it be PvP, PvE, legendary or heroic, with a team or solo? Well, this shines in them all. Incapacitate enemies by afflicting multiple statuses at once, while maintaining virtually infinite bonus armor for you and your entire team. This build combo will allow you to comfortably coast through the highest levels of content. Now, if you're interested in builds from DPS all the way to skill, then this is the place to be. So don't hesitate to drop a like and subscribe to my channel if you're new here. I'd love to have you. Now let's not waste any more time because I'm eager to dive into this. There are so many positive aspects to this build, I don't really know where to begin. Well, why not start with the specialization? It's Firewall, and that's for a few reasons. One being the Crusader Shield, which also happens to be the specialization specific skill for Firewall, which grants extra damage to enemies in front of you within a certain range. Also, the more enemies in front, the more damage is dealt. The next reason is that I'm using the exotic holster called Shocker Puncher. It's a new holster that came out with Year 5's patch. And this holster has a few requirements in order for it to work to its full capacity. Its talent is called Defibrillator. While Shocker Punch is equipped, the stun received by the agent from the shock status effect in general will be reduced by 50%. Using a shield, which I mentioned before, will give 100% melee damage. Using St Elmo's engine with the holster will give you an extra 100% melee damage and will make the next melee attack to apply shock to the target. So using all three of these will offer all of the above mentioned bonuses, and the shock from the melee attack will have a 5-meter radius starting from the first target. And it has a 15-second cooldown. Now, this is a heck of a holster, and with that small cooldown time, it's worked to my advantage many times, because with melee in general in the Division 2 not really being a viable solution, using a shield makes it something that cannot be ignored because you're protected while attempting to melee. Now, the primary I'm using is, of course, the St Elmo's engine. You can read the description if you like, because almost everyone knows what this does by now. But here's what I was saying about not wasting this talent. You can do so much with shock now in this game, but one talent with shock status really stands out amongst every other one. It's called Galvanize. Perfect Galvanize, in fact. A talent only made possible with the advent of Year 5 and the new electric brand set with its name backpack. Here's its talent. The name backpack, by the way, is called the Lavoisier, and here's what it does. When you use blind, ensnare, confuse, or shock on any enemy, you and all your allies within 30 meters of that enemy gain 50% of your armor as additional armor for 10 seconds. So basically bonus armor. And the regular Galvanize gives you 40%. And 30 meters is a really large distance considering that it's 30 meters of that enemy. It lasts for 10 seconds, and get this, there's no cooldown. It's why I said infinite bonus armor. Do you know how much a comfort that is to have that repeatedly applied to you without you having to even do anything to get it, especially in legendary missions? Because with St Elmo's, I'm almost always going to have electric rounds. That's just the nature of the talent. But that's not it. My chest piece can grant bonus armor as well with perfect trauma. You no longer have to wait 30 seconds either. The cooldown is 20 seconds, which goes by quickly. Shooting an enemy in the head blinds them, while shooting them in the chest bleeds them. This synergy is a match made in heaven because, first of all, this is a DPS build, but it has so many other elements to it, so I would like to go into the realm of hybrid, you know how I do. But with it being a DPS build, I still prioritized status effects with firm handshakes gloves. Also for the backpack force one piece grants status effects. This way I can increase the shock effect duration on the enemy. I have the Fox's Prayer knee pads for some nice damage to targets out of cover. And oh yeah, I almost forgot. And this is one of the best things the devs could have added. We are now able to recraft our exotics until we get the attribute we desire. So for this I crafted the St Elmo until I got damage to targets out of cover, and then optimized it to the max almost. Now the status effects not only provides extra duration to the shock status on enemies, but if you're using a skill like the fire sticky bomb, which I am, then it increases the burn damage and duration of that as well. But I didn't want to roll status effects everywhere. It's why I have the brands with those values baked into them, because I need as much crit as I can get. And by the way, for my secondary weapon, I have the new SMG talent that increases damage dealt to enemies with shock status applied by 40%. But here are the stats, and the crit I was able to get is impressive to say the least, considering everything this build has going on. It could be better, but remember, that's not all this build is about. It has so much utility that the damage you deal is not as important. Don't get me wrong though, you still melt with this playstyle, and most importantly, it's a really fun build to play. The last piece I'm using is the mask, 𝐸𝐸, and you know this is the single best crit damage brand piece to use for a build that may just need a nice chunk of it. And that's pretty much it for this. I hope I covered everything because this build has a lot going on with it and it's pretty amazing. Please share your thoughts down below and about what you think about this video. And if it helped you out in any way, then like the video. And don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel if you're new here. I'll catch you in the next one. Be right out.